In collaboration between Oulu University of Applied Sciences and Southern Utah University, this is the fourth video in a series that examines what do effective teachers do. This, the fourth video, examines how your students and you best understand the nature, quality, and progress of their learning. The intent of this video is to jumpstart discussions and reflective thinking about what it means to be an effective teacher. The video does not present all of the research regarding assessment and evaluation. The desired outcome of the video is that you will seek further learning opportunities through professional journals, within professional learning communities, and dialogue with faculty and teacher preparation programs and your peers. A secondary purpose of the video is to demonstrate that classroom teachers can produce videos using an iPad or tablet and appropriate apps. A list of apps used to produce this video is provided at the conclusion of the video. Let's take a look at three types of assessment: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. Learning is developmental. With your curriculum designed backwards, you already have established what your students will know, be able to do, and believe when they finish your course or unit of study. More importantly, you know how you will know that your students have these new abilities. You've taken that big picture and broke it into teachable, measurable student learning outcomes. What is assessment for learning, often called formative assessment? Stop the video and write down what you know and understand about formative assessment. When you have your list, start the video. Effective teachers use formative assessment to inform instruction and guide learning as it occurs during the course of unit of study. Could you add these to your list? It's initial or diagnostic assessment, and it's ongoing. It's based on a variety of informational sources like portfolio, works in progress, teacher observation, conversation with students. Verbal or written feedback to students is primarily descriptive and emphasizes the strengths, identifies challenges, and points to the next step. Teachers check on understanding, adjust their instruction based on their students' performance. No grades or scores are given. Record keeping is primarily anecdotal and descriptive. Begins as students become aware of the goals of instruction and the criteria for their performance. It involves goal setting and monitoring progress and reflecting on results. Assessment as learning occurs when students are their own assessors. Students monitor their own learning, ask questions, and use a range of strategies to decide what they know and can do and how to use assessment for new learning. When would you use assessment as learning? Turn off the video. Think, then share with a colleague, then discuss with a larger group. Return to the video when you're ready to move on. Assessment as learning encourages students to take responsibility for their own learning. It requires students to ask questions about their learning. It involves teachers and students creating learning goals to encourage growth and development. It provides the use of formal and informal feedback and self-assessment to help students understand the next steps in learning. It encourages peer assessment, self-assessment, and reflection. What is assessment of learning, often called summative assessment? Assessment of learning usually occurs at the end of a unit of study to determine the level of understanding the student has achieved. It includes marks or grades against an expected standard. Often it compares one student's achievement with the standards, and the results can be communicated to the student and the parents. Students need to understand and use the criteria by which they will be assessed, both formative and summative. Avoid focusing on grades to motivate your students. the focus of learning moves from gaining knowledge and skills to acquiring the grade. If possible, tie the entire learning together. Each exam or assessment is cumulative and builds. Students then cannot cram and forget. If a student doesn't do well on the first assessment, they have an opportunity to learn the material and apply it to the next assessment. Teach your students that all learning has meaning. Formative assessment provides feedback to the students and you, informing you of the progress and processes. Summative assessment is the evaluation. It has the word value in it and gives a worth to the work done. Formative assessment is the powerhouse of the learning. It will inform you if you are on track to reach your course goals and if your students are on track to reach the course goals. If you were to ask to provide evidence of understanding the difference between assessment for learning and assessment as learning and assessment of learning, what would you provide?